Welcome to a special edition of the B. Andrews Radio Show. I am one of your co-hosts from the B. Andrew Band. I am Eric, and on the other side of the room is your other co-host, the other member of the B. Andrews Band, John. Say hey, John.
Hey.
And we are here. This is a special edition recording tonight, and I say tonight because it's a little bit late into the evening when we're doing this particular recording. John and I have been talking about making sure that we've got enough energy to do this show and to come up with all the things that we need to do, basically because of personal travel time, and we're kind of dividing and conquering, kind of going different directions. John's going to be taking off and heading one direction. I'm going to be kind of actually staying at home and heading another direction.
Don't do that.
Don't do what?
Quit quoting band names.
Oh, especially that particular band name. You know why? Because they're a band on the run.
Was that a challenge?
Oh, we got a challenge going on today. Part of our show today is going to be lyrics game. So if we incorporate lyrics from songs into our talk radio show today, every time that we do so, we score a point, and we are totally reliant upon our listening audience to keep score. So every time we come up, I'm ahead 1-0 right there. And just so that you know that, and every time that we do that, we incorporate a song, we get a point. We need you, the listening audience, to keep a running tally on who wins. I think I'm going to smoke John tonight.
We need you like water, like breath, like the rain. I need you like... Anyway.
Yes, I'm going to be smoke on... Oh, I totally lost the tune.
Smoke on the water. You don't get a point for it.
I know.
You just
you can't snipe it. I started it. It's not original.
No, I won't take it. I don't get to take it, but you don't get to have it because you botched the melody so bad.
That's the way it's scored at home. Botched for me, but John doesn't get the point either.
We're still 1-1.
There you go. All right. So as we go through...
One-on-one, I wanna play. Okay.
Well, I was going to say that as we move through this show tonight, maybe little by little we can meet in the middle and never tear each other apart.
What? I mean, tonight.
Oh, at home, John gets that one. I just tagged it. That's all, but he gets total credit for that one. Okay. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to play the game, and I tell you, I plan on winning because if I don't, I can't get no. All right. So, by the way, point for me. Got it. All right. So one of the things that we wanted to do in our special edition show for this evening is talk about male voices. We're in a band ourselves. It's something that we do. We pull up a microphone. Yeah, it's something we do ourselves. We pull up a microphone. We get the music rolling on, and we put our voices behind our music, and
for better or worse,
for better or for worse. And usually, what's that first response that happens after you? We'll lay down a track, we'll put the headphones on, and what's the first response after you hear your voice? Yeah, that's it. And both John and I are exactly the same way about it. And we'll sit down at times and we'll go, yeah, John, I wrote this song, but I want you to sing it because I don't like the sound of my voice on this song.
It's like I love to sing. I don't like to hear myself singing like played back. That's not.
Yeah, it's not cool. I don't like the sound of my own voice. Which, by the way, several very popular singers have exactly the same attitude about their own voice, and they hate to hear themselves sing. I've heard Phil Collins.
Yeah, Phil Collins. That was supposed to be one of the whole reasons why he used so much effects on his voice as to kind of try to cover that up because he didn't like the sound of his voice, which is really funny because I really like Phil Collins' voice. You know, it's unique. You can pick it out. So.
And we want to talk about today on today's show, the different male voices that are out there that we like listening to, the songs that go with them. We're going to talk a little bit about that quality of voice, what it is about it that we like. And just kind of share that with you as the listening audience. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to have a little bit of fun with some songs as we sing songs, sing.
No, that one shouldn't count just on like principle. Ugh.
Hello, Starlight.
That is not even the words. It's Good Morning, Starshine.
The earth says hello.
How am I correcting you on lyrics from the 60s? That doesn't even make sense.
Anyway, because we're sing, song, sing.
Honestly, I don't think you should get the points for that one either. You so screwed up the lyrics, and this is called the lyric game.
Yeah, I know. But,
wow.
But
wow.
I did get the breakdown because that's all there is to the breakdown.
Sing, song, sing, song.
It is. It is. I don't know how in the world, but as we get into the subject, it looks like we made it. Yeah. I just keep racking them up.
I'm letting you have them.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I feel the victory, but as they say, John, when you look down, you only see defeat. All right. So
no, I just looked up. There was a mouse. Dang it. I haven't gotten rid of all the mice in here.
We've got a mouse in the studio? There's a mouse in the studio. Somebody come and save us.
I think Aunt Pammy was right. He didn't like my singing. So, quite a while ago on the show, I shared that I had a mouse that would defecate on my desk. Like, he wouldn't defecate, Anyway, he would defecate on my desk, and I thought I got rid of him. I have not seen evidence of them around in a long time, but there was one that just ran across that shelf. I saw him.
Are you sure? It was a mouse.
Yes.
It wasn't an alligator. Oh, I saw him that time. Ow!
He ran all the way around the room.
He ran all the way around the room. We have a mouse in the studio. A brave one at that. That's it. I'm naming him Ralph.
Don't name the mouse.
He had a motorcycle. I can see it, man. Did you see the way that thing zoomed around? He's like,
to me, he wasn't moving fast enough. He was like,
well, if I had a gun, I would have shot him, but you won't let me carry a gun in here.
I will kill him.
You will?
Yes.
Are you admitting that to our entire audience?
Yes, I'm going to murder Ralph.
There you go. That's the night that the lights went out in Georgia.
I feel like we're going to have to take a break here in a little bit so we can regather our thoughts and so I can set a mousetrap.
What a show. I never thought that. Did you? He can be a part of our listening audience, a part of our live studio audience.
No. I'm Durg.
What are you going to do if he climbs up on the desk?
Well, I'm like, while we're doing this?
Yeah.
I would pick him up and throw him outside or something.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, maybe you could be the Pied Piper and sing and lure him up onto the desk with your beautiful voice.
No. We've already established he doesn't like my singing.
Oh.
That's why he waits until I leave, and then he jumps up on my desk.
That's not true.
And poops.
He just came running through here while we're sitting here. Oh, yes, they call him the street.
No, you stop.
Boogity, boogity, fastest thing on 4 feet.
What? Silence. I might really lose now. I'm totally knocked off my game here.
By a mouse. Okay. Well, anyway, how much time before our break?
We got about 5 minutes.
We got 5 minutes. Okay, let's see if we can get back into our subject after our show has been thoroughly interrupted by Ralph. the motorcycle mouse. Anyway, so we're working on this idea about voices. And as we talk about male voices, I went online and I tried to look up this idea so that I could try to approach this in a very logical kind of way, because I thoroughly understand that when it comes to male voices and what people like to listen to, it is primarily a subjective matter. If it wasn't so subjective, then how can you take somebody that has a voice like Ed Ames, which I would probably say that 60-70% of our listening audience doesn't even know who I'm talking about.
I mean, like Robert Goulet?
When I say Ed Ames or Robert Goulet, and you take these two guys, and nobody knows in today's society, who those guys are, and yet say something like Michael Jackson or Prince or Macklemore. Who's the one guy
It's Macklemore. I don't think it's Macklemore.
Oh, okay. Well, who's the one fella that absolutely out of the 60s, 70s, and 80s most prolific songwriter? Trying to think of it. Oh, yes. The guy that you just absolutely love, Bob Dylan. You know, how is it that people nowadays can talk about Bob Dylan, which, by the way, just won a Nobel Peace Prize this past year for his songs, and yet you take the quality voices of a Robert Goulet or an Ed Ames, and there's just no comparison to me in the singing, and yet Bob Dylan is going to be more popular. That is strictly based upon the genre of music and the amount of people and what people like to hear within those particular genres of music. And so when this subject matter is incredibly subjective. So when we go to talk about it, and coming up in the next section, we're going to rattle off a bunch of male voices coming up here in our next segment. We've got to put it in the category of the type of music that they sing, and that there is no such thing as this guy has the best voice in all of music, or this guy has the worst voice in all of music.
No, I think we can establish pretty much the worst voice in all of music. I think that can be established.
Okay, worst voice in all of pop music.
Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan. Oh, an answer is blowing in the wind. By the way, that's another song lyric.
What? No, you don't get that. You just start. I could start singing any random song. That shouldn't count.
The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind.
Stop that. Okay.
It's the best song voices. The answer is blowing in the wind. Who's number one? Oh, that would just be annoying. I can't do that all the time. Anyway, so we're going to talk about that, and we're going to get into it and delve into the styles of music that we like. Even though we do Christian rock type of music, it's got the drum beat behind it. We do like a heavy guitar every now and then. I think our listening audience is actually probably going to be pretty surprised at the style of male voices that we like, and the era and the genre of music that we find, how would I say, challenging, things that maybe we would like to emulate, the particular kind of quality that we would like to go for. So we're going to talk about that in our upcoming segment. I think it's time to take a break, though. And as we do, go out and get that refill of coffee that you may need, or if your drink is tea or water or whatever the beverage of your choice is, go ahead and get that refill and come on back in a few minutes, and we'll pick up where we left off. And you're listening to the B. Andrews Radio Show. Stay tuned, everybody.
Well, there's a guy I know, so let's call him Joe, 'cause he's a real good friend. He wants to start a fight when things aren't right in this world that we're living in. So it says to him, Joe, I know that you know that fighting never pays. So instead of a fight when things aren't right, why don't you start with a chord of praise? Na, 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 na. Sing the chord of praise. Na, 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 na. Sing the chord of praise. There is a simple truth that folks don't understand. Everything that happens in our lives comes from God's own hand. Everybody has a choice that they can make every day. You can choose to ignore what comes from God or sing the word of praise. Now it occurred to me how things might be when this world comes to an end. It won't be long till we're all gone and standing up in heaven, and then
You're listening to the B. Andrews Radio Show.
Welcome back to the B. Andrews Radio Show, and we're about ready to open it up and talk about male voices that influence us, what we like, what we listen to, what we try to emulate, or things about quality of voices that we try looking for. And we do incorporate that kind of stuff into our own songs. And as we get ready to open this up, we also want you, as our listening audience, to be sure to join in with the discussion. Maybe throw your thoughts onto our Facebook page. You can do that by going to our Facebook page. You'll find it at B. Andrews, as in somebody's name. First name, B-E, last name, Andrews, A-N-D-R-E-W-S. Find us on Facebook. Be a part of the discussion. Jump in. Be a part of the group, the B. Andrews Radio Show group, and that's where you'll find everything right there. Okay, greatest voice influence over there, young man. What is the one that just influences you a lot? Throw it out.
I don't think there is one.
Not just one? Okay.
Depends on what song I'm singing. So, like, if we do a cover, then the artist that would originally sing the song, I would have to say is my greatest influence on the way I sing that song.
Okay. What voice do you like? Who out there?
Yeah.
Come on now.
That's a completely different question.
I'm baiting you. Who out there you go, listen to that voice?
Nat King Cole.
Okay. That's a great choice. Now you got to explain why.
Oh, easiest listening voice there is. My goodness, the rich baritone. Of course, he had to smoke like a chimney to get that voice. In fact, he would chain smoke before takes in order to do that. And of course, he died of lung cancer. Big surprise. Whoa. But I love his rich baritone voice. Just, beautiful.
Okay. Now, you say Nat King Cole, and that immediately takes me to the time era that Nat sang in, and you're talking
the 40s, 50s, and early 60s.
I think you can even go far back as the late 30s. I think he might have some recordings in the late 30s, maybe. And, I'm maybe...
The King Cole Trio is known for singing through the 40s.
Okay. And great voice. Absolutely great voice. Okay. So I don't get any points for this, but Mona Lisa, Mona Lisa, men have named you. Yeah, I'm dreaming. I wish I could sing like that.
Straighten up and fly right.
Oh.
Ooh, gotcha.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. That's all right. The modern times is a particular modern voice, especially heading into rock and roll, that you go, wow, that voice, that's really, I like that male voice.
Okay, the lead singer for Need to Breathe. Like, we do some Need to Breathe songs, and so I really like the feeling he sings with. But I gotta say, it's kind of ridiculous because, like, the more and more he sings with feeling, the less and less there's intelligible words that come out. So, but I like the way he sings. I guess. That's just personal taste because, like when I take a step back and think about, like, take a step back and look at it a little more objectively, I kind of go like, why is he grunting? Why is he grunting so much? That just,
All right. All right. So your thoughts on, I'll throw out two artists and tell me what you think about this, and we move back away from Christian, artists. Let's talk about Steve Perry, Bryan Adams.
yeah, well, that would go along with, so like the guys I named off, like Nat King Cole and the lead singer for Need to Breathe, like, I don't know his name actually, but those two guys have likable voices. As far as if you're looking at it from the standpoint of the amazing talent, and range, vocal range, both those guys are fairly limited. They don't possess great range or fantastic vocal quality.
But no, I wouldn't say vocal quality. If it's easy to listen to, their vocal quality's got to be good.
Well, okay, I'll give you some of that,
but not range.
But like Bryan Adams, incredibly likable. I mean, I got my first real six string. I mean, everybody knows it. Voice to listen to. Actually, he has a very deceiving range because he actually gets up there.
Yeah, he can.
Same thing with Don Henley has a similar kind of voice. He gets up there, and you don't realize how high they're singing for whatever it is about the timbre of their voice that kind of cloaks and hides just how high they're singing. It's
that rough sounding voice you just put in, Don Henley, Bryan Adams, so then throw in Rod Stewart.
Yeah,
along with that, and they have that almost raspy sounding voice. But
well, I wouldn't say almost, I would say definitely raspy.
Raspy sounding. But what's incredible, whether you like Rod Stewart and rock and roll or not, I think about 5-6 years ago, he actually brought out what they called an American Traditions album.
It was called
Standards, I'm sorry.
The All-American Songbook.
Something of that nature, where he sang a lot of the older songs.
Which is interesting because he's not American. But.
And I actually yucked at the idea, and then I went on YouTube and picked out 3 or 4 of the songs that he did. They're what they call standards, which means it's a big band sound, something that Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Bing might have done. And by the way, those are all guys that we really like and their style of voices. And he did this album, and Tony Bennett, another guy, and he absolutely, he killed it. I was shocked. It was good. It sounded good. It was easy to listening to. And you think with that raspy voice of his that it just wouldn't work.
Yeah.
But it did.
But and then like you mentioned Steve Perry, and I would say like that's a great sounding voice, but you kind of go into the other side of that where you leave someone that, they have a very likable voice, but not necessarily great vocal quality. You get over to, Steve Perry, and now you got someone that has an incredibly likable voice, and then the range to go with it. That is quite the vocalist.
Okay, rattle off stuff in case our listeners. Steve Perry sang.
Steve Perry is the lead singer. Was the lead singer for Journey. Was paired with them. So you're talking about "Don't Stop Believing," "Faithfully," "Open Arms." He had a solo career. So "Oh Sherry." Was on there. Foolish Heart.
One of my favorite. Foolish heart, hear me calling, stop before. Yeah. So, doesn't count. People counting at home, that doesn't count. I was just doing a Steve Perry song. So anyway, these are voices, and you also just moved from baritone to tenor.
Yeah, that's
so there. That also is a different listening range. There's different people who love baritones. There's people who love tenors in the Christian music. One of the great tenors, he's not as popular as he was about a decade ago, and that is Steve Green. And man, has an incredible range. Love to hear Steve Green sing as a solo, as a tenor. and with the Gaither vocal band, Steve Green was singing with them, was replaced by a guy by the name of Mark Lowry. And Mark Lowry, for as funny as he is, one of the things that he's not given credit for, he has got an incredible singing voice and very easy to listen to.
Well, see, and that's an interesting thing to bring up. Like, a lot of the very likable voices tend to be deeper, baritone and everything. But you have people that can have the incredible vocal range and then be really annoying to listen to.
Yes.
Like, those are really different things. And maybe that's one of the most special things about Steve Perry's voice is besides just having that incredible vocal range, he's also very easy to listen to. And just, has a... Everybody likes Steve Perry. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Now, on the Christian side of it, I like the guy's voice, but and I got in serious trouble with this one time. A little story before I get off of mentioning mentioning the guy's name.
It's your thing.
Yep.
Do what you're gonna do.
Woo-hoo. All right. And so, back when we were kind of chasing after record labels and trying to get our name out there and get connections, we're at a music producer's home in Nashville, Tennessee. And I won't drop any names here, but we're sitting in his home, and literally, to kind of give you an idea, we're in his loft studio, which basically he's running 4 computer systems and all this stuff. There was a gold album inside a frame sitting on the floor.
Yeah, because he didn't have room for it.
He didn't have room for it on his walls. I mean, so I was like, oh, wow, look, that's a gold album down there. So that's the kind of producer we were in. And we he took us up, showed us his studio in the loft where he was working on different people's stuff. And we come down, we're sitting around in his kitchen, we're talking about music and everything. And I popped off about a Christian singer at the time, whose name is
Mark Schultz.
Mark Schultz, and I love Mark Schultz's voice, but and this is what I said, how come on all of his songs he has like 1 volume level? He was taking her home, holding her head. I mean, just like...
Thank you for, popping my mics like that.
Hey, that's just the way it is. Some things will never change.
Okay, I'll give you that one.
Score 1 for me. And anyway, so and this guy looked at me, this producer, and he goes, I helped do that song.
I know Mark Schultz. Yeah, we've worked together. Yeah. And I was like, open mouth, exchange feet.
Yes, I just rotated. That's all that I did. Yeah, it was like, hey, these boots are made for walking. Anyway, score another for me. And sometimes when you're with these guys, but you got to watch what you say.
Back to our point.
Back to the point. I just kind of I blew it right there with that particular music producer. But I love Mark Schultz's. Mark Schultz has a range. But in a lot of his songs, that's what I kind of think. And I think it has to do something with the producer that can't say, hey, man, roll it back a little bit or be soft on this or something like that. So moving back out of tenors, move back into baritones, the ones that I got to talk about Bing. I love Bing Crosby, especially older Bing when... I don't know if most people know this or not, but he was, in his younger days, an Irish tenor. And through his singing and pipe smoking and all that kind of stuff, he eventually became this baritone that could just drop the bottom out of the notes and just hit it so smoothly. And just, wow. Love Bing. Brooke Benton. Heavy duty smoker.
Well, you just left baritones. He's a bass.
No, he's actually a baritone, but he can just drop the bottom out of it. Ed Ames. Now we're starting to head out of baritone into the bass section.
Now we're starting.
Yeah,
the last guy didn't count, even though he just,
No,
sang both, but he didn't count.
not Brooke Benton. And then
Whatever.
so let's start talking about bass singers here really quick. Only got a few seconds left in this segment. Modern day.
Avi Kaplan is his name.
And what group is he with again? I think it's
I
Pentatonics.
think he might be the one with oh man, if I get this wrong, someone's gonna stone me.
Is with Pentatonics or is planning on leaving the group, I understand.
Oh yeah, I think so,
taking
yeah.
some family time. Then there's the bass with
Home Free. The guy
Home
with
Free.
Home Free is awesome.
Love that guy's voice. And in country music, there's a guy that sings that has a great bass voice. In fact,
Josh Turner.
Josh Turner, and it has actually, he in an interview has said that there are some phone systems that he can't leave messages on
Because he busts them.
because he can break the speaker on the phone system. That's pretty awesome.
That's beast.
It's pretty awesome. So, well, this is a great time to pull up and take a break and get you a refill on your cup. We're going to talk a little bit more about some of these basses when we come back in, and we're going to have some good news. So get a refill on that cup and come on back and join us here on the B. Andrews Radio Show. Stay tuned, everybody. I didn't know I had any of the symptoms. To the best of my knowledge, I had never had a problem before. All I did was enter the coffee shop, and the lady behind the counter said, "Morning, hun." And I looked at the glass case and saw my reflection. There it was, on my face. Smiley fascia.
Smiley fascia, or smiley face, is a condition caused by feelings of uncontrollable joy, peace, or tranquility. From the labs of Pharmaceuticals Unlimited comes depressia. Depressia is for those who are experiencing symptoms of smiley fascia or smiley face. Other symptoms may include singing, whistling, or in rare cases, skipping. Not all smiling is related to smiley fascia. Seeing others knocked down or in pain might also lead to smiling. Ask your doctor about the difference. Depressia is the first truly green drug, as we have used recycled cyanide, mercury, DDT, and a dash of sodium chloride. Using Depressia can help you lessen your carbon footprint on the planet.
Once I started taking Depressia, I felt so bad, I didn't have anything to smile about.
85% of those taking Depressia in a lab trials experienced lung failure, kidney failure, liver failure, death, and death-like symptoms. While taking Depressia, do not come into contact with sunlight or be around uplifting people, or this may hamper the depressing effects of the drug. If you continue to have uncontrollable feelings of joy, peace, and tranquility while taking Depressia, contact your doctor right away, as this might be a sign of deeper psychosis.
Depressia took the smile right off my face.
If you're struggling with Smiley fascia, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's an oncoming train.
Depressia is not recommended by anyone and is not in stores. Depressia is solely a medical product of Pharmaceuticals Unlimited and is presented by the Adlib Council. Ask your doctor about Depressia.
And welcome back to the B. Andrews Radio Show. And by the way, just want to take a moment to say thanks for listening and thanks for being a part of our show. If you're enjoying the stuff that you're hearing, then share it abroad. We really appreciate that effort, and tell your friends. You say, "Hey man, I ran into these guys and they're really goofy, really crazy, and a lot of fun to listen to. And hey, they don't talk politics, so check them out." That's what this is all about. So,
They do have rodent problems
on occasion, and tonight happens to be one of those occasions. In our last segment, we want to wrap this up here in just a few minutes, but we were talking about voices. We had gone from baritones, tenors, and moved down into the bass section. I will say this: gospel music has produced some of the greatest bass voices of all time. When you start talking about J.D. Sumner.
Yep.
Still holding probably the record. I mean, the man's, I believe he's recorded as 3 notes off of a piano keyboard. I do not know how you can even record that since it's not on a piano keyboard, but.
Well, there's things that produce frequencies lower than that, so yeah.
Okay.
They
so
just capture it with a oscilloscope.
Yeah. So that's J.D. Sumner. And he's just absolutely fabulous to listen to. I don't know his name, but the bass singer for the Statler Brothers, and the Statler Brothers are also known for doing gospel music. The bass singer for the Oak Ridge Boys, of course, his famous song that has been captured for him is boom bop boom bop boom bop bow wow. Okay.
Ain't nothing like the real thing, baby.
That's okay, because I'm still number one, and you know what they say? One is the loneliest number that you'll ever do. Anyway.
So is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's just lonely being on top, okay? Because only the lonely, but
I was going to say, you were standing tall on the wings of your dreams. Anyway. I can't believe I know that song.
I can't believe you know that song either.
Anyway. You lost your thought.
I did, because I'm just going, I know there's a song in there somewhere, but
Anyway.
I may be standing tall, but what I'm really doing is flying on the wings of love. Okay, so anyway.
That was poorly tied in.
But it was tied in. There you go.
Barely.
So, they have produced, gospel music has produced some of the greatest bass singers of all times, and of course, when you start going on the Southern Gospel Quartets, those are the places where you'll hear bass singers, and so gospel music has a tendency to produce more of them.
We haven't even talked about the fantastic voices that come out of theater. You're actually classically trained singers like, Luciano Pavarotti and all of those guys. We've just basically
Placido Domingo.
We've just stuck with, pop music basically. But.
Yeah, we have. And there are a lot of great singers. And let me tell this very distant story in order to prove a point. So 30 years ago, I got an opportunity to go play basketball for a traveling team down in Puerto Rico, and got to go down there, play basketball in Puerto Rico. And even though I was in my early 20s, I'm playing with all these 16, 17 high school juniors and seniors. And as we're playing the game, I got to see, here I am in Puerto Rico, another part of the world, and you're seeing a lot of basketball talent. A few of the kids that we actually got to play against was coming to the United States and being recruited by major universities over here. Just all to prove the point that there is a lot of talent out there that gets seen, and then there's talent that never even gets seen. Point in case, Perry Como is an incredible talent. Eventually gets realized on how great of a talent he is, but do you know how he was discovered? He was a barber cutting hair, and he's humming and singing in the background, and finally enough of the guys that they're saying, you really ought to get into music and record, but he was a barber. There's just all this talent out there. What it amounts to is what people like to hear. It's hard to judge quality and say that guy's number one. But what really is how people can produce a sound. You talked about timbre. How people can produce a sound that other people go, I like that. That sounds good. And speaking of sounding good, that is a great segue to talk about our good news. And so, John, what's our good news story for this episode?
Our good news for today comes out of Portland, Maine. It's from the Associated Press. Struggling runner crosses finish line with competitor's help. So it says, a competitor who collapsed short of the finish line at the Beach to Beacon 10K in Maine managed to complete the race with some help. Former University of Maine runner Jesse Orrick says he thought the race was over, and then he felt someone pick him up Saturday. Robert Gomez of Wyndham helped Orrick to his feet, and together they crossed the finish line. Then Orrick collapsed again. The touching moment was captured by news photographers. Gomez told the Portland Press-Herald that Orrick gave it more than I did. and deserved to be the top main finisher among nearly 6,500 competitors. They both had the same time, 31 minutes and 31 seconds. Oreck tells the newspaper he'd suffered a heat stroke with his body core temperature peaking at 107.3 degrees.
My goodness. And so this other runner, there's the picture, literally helps him up and takes him across the finish line, and they finish at the same time. So, you know what? That's incredible. That is absolutely incredible. Incredible sportsmanship, but what I saw there is somebody that says, I don't leave somebody alone. I take them with me. I don't leave somebody behind. That was pretty incredible. I really, really like that. All right, so we're getting ready to take a break here and wrap up our show for the day. So if you need your last cup, why don't you go out and get that thing refilled and come on back, and we'll wind up here at the B. Andrews Radio Show. Get that refilled and come on back.
I have this feeling you're calling me to something so much more. Well, every time I get this close, I give up before I go too far. This time I'll let nothing stop me. I'll go until I've got no more. So batten down the hatches, say hello to arms, going so much further than I've ever been before. Won't be easy, I don't know what's in store. Even if I stand alone, I'm taking on the world. When it comes to this, Lord, I'm something of an expert. I've been on my knees 100 times before, but this time things are so much different. The man that I was, I ain't no more. Well, every time I get this close, I give up before I go too far. But this time I'll let nothing stop me. I'll go until I got no more. So
we're back here at the B. Andrews Radio Show out, and we put this show in the tank, as they say. But before we go, just a few things we want to reiterate to you. As we were talking through the show and talking about male voices, we started off by saying how much that we really don't even like listening to our own voices, but we realize that we do have at least somewhat of a talent there. And I believe that when you have a talent, you need to use it for good and use it for God. That's what's really in my heart. And that's one of the reasons why John and I both take what we have, what we can do, try to make as much of a pleasant sound as we can, and say, okay, God, here it is. Use it in our breaks and so forth. If you're listening, that's our music, stuff that we've put together, that we write when we go out, lead worship, do the different things that we do. We give it our best. And we realize we're no Mari Alonzas or Bing Crosby's, Dean Martins, but you know what? We give it our best, and we give it to God. And no matter what it is you do, and the Bible says no matter what you do, eat, drink, sleep, if you kill mice, we need you here in the studio.
If that's your God-given talent, please come to my house.
Come. We could use you. But give it all to God and do it for His good. Well, thanks for being with us this week on this show. Be with us next week, and we'll be back on Tuesdays. With us on Facebook, Twitter, and go to our website, www.bandrewsband.com, and we'll be waiting to hear from you and your comments. So thank you for being with us. Share the show, and God bless everybody. See ya.